So I think we have to look at how the human being is gradually moved and shifted into certain conditions and certain things that we end up accepting. But there's always a set of individuals or set of souls that evolve. We just don't know about that evolution, but we don't have to be here.
I hope that we also, excuse me, what we can learn from this is more about ourselves again if we turn it back to ourselves, because I think that we'll discover as we begin working with more, putting together artificial, neural networks, brains, artificial brains, we will learn an awful lot more about ourselves actually in the process as we're building this and discovering this. And we might even come to a point where we realize, okay, consciousness actually is a spiritual essence because we cannot replicate it. We don't know what it is, but we cannot get the same expression in a machine as we have, and that will be the divider. And hence we will potentially, that will lead us into a new path, if you will, a more spiritual path. We don't know at this point, but it sure is an interesting element in all this kind of technological, scientific, materialistic thing that is going on right now.
Absolutely. And it's, again, because when you look at the fact that consciousness has, in the vastness of consciousness, and we look at the vastness of it in terms of the overall picture, there's only ultimately one then. If we look at that, it's basically segmented itself to give the appearance of being you, me, and everybody else. If they're indeed able to somehow get a portion of their consciousness, into one of the, I'm sure that's what's going to happen. They're going to attempt to do that, to get a portion of their consciousness into maybe these artificial vessels, because it's going to be, thought. They can do it through thought. Somehow they will find a way to try to regulate things through thought. And what we have to remember is this is Atlantis all over again. It doesn't matter what anybody says. This is Atlantis all over again. And as I've said time and time again, Atlantis is still alive and kicking. I'm talking Atlantis, the Atlantis that you speak of. It's just the fact that we are occupying a matrix, a system, a dumbed down, what should I say,
version,
and it's still there. It still regulates. They still observe, because you have to remember that there were just many amazing scientists. So if indeed we are, we are in this creation, then in this concept that was created, and we all volunteered to come into this concept that was created, what seems to be a lifetime or 1,000 or 10,000 years is technically a moment. And if you have an advanced group, an advanced race of beings observing and still having a hand in such a process, you would not know, because we operate on slow time. We operate based on radio waves. That's just science right there. We do not operate on a very fast frequency. We are on the lower level of that. So other things could be going on. They're moving around us. We would not even see it, because it's a whole different rate of speed. So I know in my gut, and I feel that that's part of the game. That Atlantis concept is still part of the game, and I do believe that human beings are being observed. I mean, there's an observation that takes place. When you take it out of, again, the mystical aspect of it, and you look at it from the scientific aspect, you look at it from the perspective of a game, and you also look at it from the perspective of you as a human being and the manner in which you operate and how you like to play games, and you look at the competitive edge that we have, how competitive we are, and you start to evaluate our actions and responses as human beings, it will lead you right back to realizing what could have been done on a much larger scale, because you're still carrying all of those abilities and needs to create and to compete and to control.
To me also, what comes up when I'm thinking about Atlantis is that something in a way, if you know what I mean, went wrong there. They did certain mistakes. It was a loss of
Mhm.
morality, some kind of
Mhm.
degradation, laziness in regards to even technologies that they were developing. And again, it seems to be like an echo there that what we're witnessing
Absolutely.
here in our world now is very close to
Mhm.
where they were before the fall, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that. And again, it goes back to the power thing. It goes back to needing to duplicate an original concept of creating another human being or creating other souls. It always goes back to wanting to control the energy, control the universe, control create. This isn't even the universe anymore. I mean, you go past that. The universe is just one system, another matrix within which we are operating. It's all technology. It's all technology, and you remove the fluff. You start looking at it. Go and research what does technology mean. You start to understand that it's just the manipulation of energy. When I say manipulation, I don't necessarily mean it in a good or bad way, but it is just being able to take energy and mold it into whatever it is that one is choosing to mold it into. That's all technology is.
yes.
That's all that it is. And that's what's being done. So we have a multi-layered game within which we're operating. It's just that most people, most of us, got trapped in this concept of the game, even though we were part of the larger experiment, the larger experimenters, and wanting to come in and test out the game, experience the game. That's why we have the concept of video games. All of
Yes.
these things are being born from something, from a memory. And we have to remember that there, and we're duplicating it. The video games are giving lots of information as well too. The Hollywood films. Oh my gosh, the writers are also writing information. Mirroring and showing you the very play that you are in. It's just that they're looking backstage and they're also getting a view from at the front of the stage.
Yes.
They're looking at both. We tend to just look at the front of the stage. We don't go backstage. Who's back there? You know, who is back there pulling the strings? Who is making all of this work?
Yes.
Well, you are on a much deeper level, and nobody can really hold you to any of this without your consent. And that's basically what you got to do is take that back, is go, okay, let me take back control of my aspect of the experience.
And that's also why I considered films to be important, because again, millions of people are going into theaters. They're watching these very powerful, in many cases, emotional rides that we're being taking on and taken on while we're watching a film. So what I'm seeing going on in one regard is also that they're reinforcing certain structures within the matrix with the aid of films, because if many people watch a film and then end up believing something, or they're being changed, or in some way, they might be influencing or contributing to the fact that something is more plausible to play out in our world, if you know what I mean. It might sound a bit weird, but
yeah, no, absolutely. You're definitely correct on that, because just the same way we sit in a movie theater, and it's always funny when I see that, when everybody's sitting there and we're all staring at the screen getting our upload. And I love movies because I watch them for various reasons. You know, I watch them from a different perspective, but you see everybody sitting there getting their upload, and it is your emotion that's being worked.
Yes.
It's your emotions that's being worked. But look at how believable it is to you. It's the same thing with this, when you step out of there, and the reality here, it's all believable to us. No matter which way we're looking at it, this reality is very believable to us. Everything, everything is, what we call real. And I define real, I connect the word real, or reality, and the word real, together, because a real reality realm, those are all associated, because everything is real according to, obviously, the realm that you are in at that moment. That's really what it is. You are just simply saying, this is the realm I'm experiencing right now. And so
I don't think that the brain either does the distinction between, oh, this I put to the side. I mean, the conscious brain might do it, and you might in a conscious way think, okay, this is fantasy, but again, the unconscious part of your brain is just absorbing and taking it all in, and to that part, everything is real. It doesn't matter.
Everything's a go. Everything is a go. And you get people who watch the soaps and then they plan, they want their lives to unfold like that. And I mean, so it's just fantasy all over the place. It's such a giant, complex game. There's a lot of shows going on all at once. It's like going to Disneyland or Universal Studios. There's so many stages. Which show do I watch? There's a band playing over here. There's this, and that's what's going on. And some people get one, and then they'll focus in on that, and then they'll stay there with that, and they'll, want just be part of that whole show. But it's coming to that realization.
Now, before here, we talked about this idea about this advanced machine in a way, karma, programming, the ego, reincarnation, genetic memory, DNA. Everything is different. Portions or compartments are put into this machine, or that creates the machine. Do you think that it's a stable construct? Is it something that always will be there in a sense, or do you think that it might fall apart because of I don't know, entropy or whatever, or is it because it's holographic in nature, meaning that then it never will be completely destroyed in a sense? If the smallest part of this survives, it's always going to be able to rebuild itself or be existent in some way.
Well, I think it's always going to be somewhere. The whole trick is, where are you going to be? That's really all it boils down to, is where are you taking your consciousness to? Because if past, present, and future exist simultaneously, then every possibility and every moment in time is accessible somewhere. So there's always going to be a playing field for anyone, any soul, any time, any moment. It's just, so it's just a matter of your own evolution as a being to transcend beyond this reality, this concept of time. And I always say this too, that it's so funny, but when I actually thought about it, of the many countries that are on the planet, I don't know that any place is there other than the place that I am. I've heard about the concept of, let's say Sweden then.
Sure.
I know that there's a concept, because that's all we're dealing with.
Yes.
It's just concepts. And those concepts are being experienced or played out. And then a concept is generally something that is, you test it, you check it out, and then you go, okay, you either dissolve it or you stabilize it, you create it. Well, we've stabilized it, obviously. But to me, it's all concepts unless I'm there experiencing that moment. So I'm just told that, that this country is here, and I'm just told that this one is over there. But until I'm there, I don't know that.
That's
so
right.
All of this is the very same thing. It doesn't mean that we're all, occupying the same space. Just because we say we're on Earth, it's just too big. It's just too huge. And I think, and there are other aspects of the concept of Earth that are vibrating on, I think, different vibrations, higher levels of vibrations, that the potential to occupy those concepts are there. And understanding this it's caused me to change my language, as you will hear, from the way I'm speaking, because I'm seeing it as it is, that all that exists is only this very moment, and everything else is speculative. Everything else is speculation. What happens tomorrow is a speculation. Even if you have an appointment at 9, it's all still a speculation until it occurs. Now that speculation, though, or how it'll all pan out, is always going to be based on what you are speculating, you end up stabilizing and creating that potential.
Yes.
And so that's the reason why it's essential, if we can step away from certain things, like certain problems, certain things that we're trying to figure out, and not have our minds wander in the past and in the future, which is typically when you're wandering in the future, you're coming up with